What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Real News Podcast. It is your boy bringing you back with some real talk. No filter, no nonsense. Now, today we're diving into some straight up politic drama. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is out here throwing shade at his own Democratic Party, saying they dropped the ball big time. And, I'm going to break this down with some truth bombs. So buckle up, hit that like button, and let's get into it. We got a lot to unpack about Tim Walz and the Democrats and what's really going on in these political streets. Before we start, I'm going to get to this one video from the Washington Examiner. Washington Examiner. Let me go ahead and bring this video up for y'all.
And I think Walz has this kind of strange Joe Biden-esque faux macho about him. He says at times, like, I could kick Trump supporters' ass. And you're like, well, no one's asking you to do that.
Right.
We're just asking for plans on taxes and how to kind of secure jobs.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with managing editor Chris Irvine.
Hi.
Chris, Tim Walz, former running mate for Kamala Harris, governor of Minnesota, is everywhere lately. Why?
Many people are asking that. I assume in his own kind of career ambitions that he's maybe thinking about a possible Senate run in 2026. Maybe he's eyeing up a possible 2028 run. I would find that quite extraordinary if he was. I think this kind of return to our airwaves and just being absolutely everywhere has been an interesting look into the state of the Democratic Party, and we've been talking for months about the soul searching. Where do they go next? And I think Walz is an interesting microcosm of one side of the party that almost kind of says, yeah, we didn't get it right in November, but then they can't quite articulate what it is that they did wrong and where they're going to go from here. I was listening to his podcast interview with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and that divide is quite apparent between the two of them, where Walz almost seems to still treat the Republican side with a bit of disdain, and why do we even have to kind of engage with these people? He says, I don't think we're going to get the 77 million Trump voters back, but it's the people in the middle that didn't vote that we want to go for. And Newsom, to his credit, I think, says, no, actually, we do have to hear these people out. We have to hear out the likes of Steve Bannon, and we might not agree with everything he says, but they actually overlap in some cases when it comes to tax, for example. And I think it's really... It's this kind of battle for the soul of the Democratic Party that's kind of playing out in front of us, and Walz, for some reason, seems to be one of the main surrogates right now.
Walz was supposed to be Democrats' overture to men, right? You remember the semi-disastrous hunting photo shoot during the race and such. Is he articulating any vision forward for the party with men, or is any Democrat doing that right now?
I think, again, just to go back to the podcast, I'm not doing advertising for Gavin Newsom's podcast, but they talk about how the Democrats lost men, and there is an acknowledgement that the Democrats have viewed themselves as being the party of the sort of disenfranchised. So classically, we're talking about women, we're talking about minorities, but there does seem to be acknowledgement that with that they have neglected men, which I think is kind of one of the first times I've actually heard them say we might have screwed up here on that. Now, there doesn't seem to be much of an idea for how do you go back and get men.
You think?
And I think Walz has this kind of strange Joe Biden-esque faux macho about him. He says at times, like, I could kick Trump supporters' ass. And you're like, well, no one's asking you to do that.
Right.
We're just asking for plans on taxes and how to kind of secure jobs. And I think it's a bit, he has a kind of strange view of what he seems as this masculine energy.
And Schumer is also pretty visible right now, defending his vote to avert a shutdown. What do you think, he is trying to signal to Democrats right now when he's advocating bipartisanship in some ways?
Yeah, well, I should say that Democrats need to be putting their best guys forward right now, and the fact that we're talking about Chuck Schumer and Tim Walz being in the airwaves shows that they're not exactly going in the right direction. I thought Schumer, his argument is obviously for averting the shutdown, that the alternative would have been far worse. I don't think he's articulated that particularly well. And then he went on The View, where he basically kind of mocked taxpayers for wanting to hold on to their money and earnings. And I think that's a sort of strange message to deliver to people, especially when it's coming from someone like Schumer, who is a career politician and hasn't had a job in the real world, that he views government as this overwhelming force for good, whereas clearly the whole point of this election and everything that's happened in between is that government is broken. And Schumer is not offering any kind of alternative vision for how to fix that.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here today. Yeah. You can get more writing from Chris and the rest of the politics team.
All right, fam, let's talk about this. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, went on CNN State of the Union and basically said that the Democrats have been fumbling the bag. He's out there admitting that they got timid, when they had power and didn't pass laws to make people's lives better. That is wild. Imagine a coach saying, yeah, my team had the ball, but they stood there and didn't score. That's exactly what Tim Walz is saying about his own squad. Now, don't get it twisted. Tim Walz ain't new to this game. He's been in the governor since 2019, and he's planning to run against again in 2026. But he's also out here saying that he's not sure if he's the best guy to be the Democrats' hype man, especially after losing the presidential election. I respect the self-awareness, of course, but come on, bro. If you're gonna step up, own it. Don't be out here half-stepping, talking about, I don't know if I'm the guy, the streets need leaders. For real. Not doubters, not maybes. And let me keep it 100. Tim Walz is out here still campaigning for other Democrats like Susan Crawford, who just won a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat. So he's trying to hold it down, but you could tell he's frustrated. He's like, we had a chance to fix stuff, and we blew it. Now, that's a wake-up call for the Democrats, y'all. They got to stop playing checkers when the game is chess. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my X, go ahead and subscribe to my X. I'm going to go ahead and bring up like I said, if you're not subscribed to my X, go ahead and go to my X, man. And let me go ahead and bring up this video.
Good one Minnesota morning. 2.5 million people showed up last November and cast votes. They made a choice. They chose hope over fear. They chose inclusion over exclusion.
Okay, I see the drone flying through the building, out the building, trying to get some good drone shots. All right, they using drones.
They chose personal freedoms over totalitarian dictates from government. They chose science over conspiracy. Above all else, though, they chose action over gridlock. First off, we're going to thank the pride of Minnesota, the Gopher Band. Thank you all. And to these legislators, they came out of their job, teaching, nursing, small business owners, and they raised their hand and said, I'll go to St. Paul and I'll bring your voice.
Minnesota, today we are leading with our values and we are delivering on those promises.
Minnesotans told us they were tired of gridlock and inaction, and they wanted leaders who would get things done. We listened. As Minnesotans, we share a trust to recognize that those before us have invested so much to create the wonderful state that we have now. We have an obligation to our children and our grandchildren to make sure that it is strong for the generations that will follow us.
It's law. Time and time again, they said it's not hard to vote your conscience for what's good for your people. It's not about banking political capital for the next election. It's about burning political capital to improve lives. It will be proven no more effective members have ever sat in this chamber and did the work than this group you see right in front of you. So thank you, each and every one of you.
It's about burning political capital to save lives. I don't know about that, bro. Don't know about that. Now, let's get into what Tim Walz is pushing. He's saying that the Democrats are all about bipartisan fixes like stronger immigration control, protecting Social Security and Medicare, and some of that diversity and equity and inclusion stuff that they throw around. All right, so let's talk about that immigration part real quick. Now, Tim Walz is out here saying that Democrats want stronger borders. Where was the energy when we got millions crossing the border every year? I ain't saying he's lying, but actions speak louder than words. And the Democrats haven't been screaming border security lately. Then he's talking about Social Security and Medicare. Cool. Who doesn't want that protected? But let's be real, fam. Every politician says they're going to save those programs, but the system's still a mess. And when he talks about DEI, he's framing it as rule of law and fair opportunity. All right, I could rock with fairness. For real, I can. But sometimes this DEI stuff gets twisted into something that ain't fair at all. I'm just saying, keep it equal, not forced. Tim Walz is trying to paint the picture like the Democrats are the party of common sense, and we all know they're not. But the streets ain't buying it right now. Why? Because, like he said, they didn't deliver. When they had the chance, you can't just talk a good game. We got to show results, and that's where Democrats are catching heat. Now let's pivot real quick, because the article also dropped some numbers on Trump. They got a poll saying Trump's approval rating is at 48% with 51% disapproving. Look, that's a tight split. Basically half the country rocking with him, half not. And that's no surprise, because Trump's always been a lightning rod. People either love him or can't stand him. Well, let's connect the dots. Tim Walz is out here whining about the Democrats' failures, and Trump's still holding it down with almost half the country behind him. Why? Because people are tired of empty promises. They want action on the economy. They want action on immigration. They want action on jobs. And whether you rock with Trump or not, he's got folks believing he's going to shake things up. Meanwhile, the Democrats, according to Tim Walz, been out here playing scared. This poll just got numbers. It's a warning shot. The Democrats got to figure out how to get back in the game, and they're going to keep they're going to keep taking L's. And Tim Walz knows it, which is why he's out here calling for the public to rise up and demand better leadership. But the question is, can they deliver better leadership than what we have now? And it doesn't seem like it, because they haven't done it for the past 12, 16 years. All right, y'all. Here's the bottom line. Tim Walz is spitting some truth. The Democrats dropped the ball, and they got to own it. But he's also got to look in the mirror. You can't just point fingers and then say, I don't know if I'm the best spokesperson. Step up or step out, fam. The country's watching, and the people are tired of the same old excuses. And the poll on Trump, it shows the game is wide open. Nobody's got a lock on this thing. But the Democrats better figure out how to play harder. They're going to be on the sidelines for a minute. For sure, they're going to be on the sidelines for a minute. And I'm just keeping it real. Politics ain't about feelings. It's about results. So what do y'all think? Are the Democrats cooked? Or can they bounce back? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's chop it up. If you're feeling this video, smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss the next one. And we're out here dropping truth every week, every day of the week. And if y'all don't want to miss it, until next time, stay smart, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.